דוקטור סבי מסביר למה חשוב להבין את המהות של מה זה ריפוי ומה המטרה בעצם של ריפוי.
This is about the ABCs of healing. The ABCs of healing. Of course, the beginning, to understand it. You see, it's artificial anyway. Healing is as artificial as wearing a pair of shoes. That's artificial. Because you're not touching the soil no longer with your bottom of your feet to receive the minerals. But I'm now modern. I can't help it. I got to walk not only with shoes but socks on too, further disconnecting me. So to understand healing is very, very good, and we all should, and we all could. And the purpose of understanding healing, it brings about what? Peace. It brings about love for self. So we begin the journey. Where do we begin with healing? Once upon a time, brothers and sisters and friends, listeners, we didn't have to know anything about anything in reference to making a decision to put something in our mouth. We did not have to read a book. Right. We didn't have a nutritionist. We didn't have any enzymes, protein, and vitamins. Why? Because all the things in our environment were alkali. We didn't have to make a decision whether this is good or bad, or try to make that distinction. Now you better know it. You better know, because right now we are engulfed and surrounded with the use of many inorganic substances. Yes, we are. We are surrounded by it, immersed in it, and we want to get out of it. But to get out of it is to know that it is bad. And the only way that you're going to know that these things are not as complementary as we would like for them to be, you have to compare them with life. And that is Mother Nature, Pachamama. Now we begin the journey. In life, life substance has a base. They call it carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. This you find in the science of biochemistry. The foundation of biochemistry is the understanding that carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen is the composition of life. Without these three players, life does not exist in that substance. This is why you could burn a carrot, you could burn beets. It doesn't burn to ashes. The only thing that burns to ashes is those things, or are those things, that are carbon-based. They are what? They are considered native by the geologists. So we find carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. If the substance doesn't have these three as players in the core of its structure, you have an acid substance that is against life itself. Now, we are not living 500 years ago when our mothers didn't have to make a decision what she's going to feed her baby, because she only fed her baby her milk. Her milk. And her milk was not impregnated with meat, with starches, because they simply did not exist. They did not eat any starches, which is carbonic acid. So now, to understand nature, you will see, as we begin to excavate, little by little, we find that nature doesn't produce any substance that has starch in it, or present. Starch is counter life, against life. Nature did not produce a starch substance. That is a yardstick or a measure that you could use to be able to navigate through the maze, because you have confounded things. You see, once upon a time on this planet, there were no comfrey, there were no whole wheat, there were no bulgur wheat, there were no oatmeal, there weren't any carrots or beets, there weren't any echinacea or aloe vera, there weren't any golden seal, and many others. Now, why were these things made? I don't know, but I know this, that these things doesn't play any part in the sustenance of life. So in the ABCs of our understanding as to what is and what shouldn't be in our presence or diet is to understand that everything that has electricity has to be starch-less. A substance that is starch-less is considered to be alkali. A substance that has starch is acid. Energy will not be obtained from nor found in it.